Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Thank you. And I join the chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus in offering this amendment in the nature of a substitute, House Con-Res 34, establishing the budget for the United States government for fiscal years 2012 through 2021. The Congressional Black Caucus has a long history of submitting fiscally responsible budget alternatives, regardless of who may be sitting in the White House or which party holds majorities in Congress. Our FY12 budget alternative continues this long tradition by putting forth a plan that significantly reduces our deficit over the next decade while increasing economic opportunities and promoting job creation at every corner of our great society. Unlike the underlying bill, our budget brings the deficit to 1.4% of GDP by 2015, which is more than sustainable in the long run and more than reaches the so-called primary balance, the goal of the President's Fiscal Commission. Our budget stabilizes our deficits within this decade and provides the President and Congress an opportunity to address the long-term drivers of both private sector and public sector fiscal instability, the skyrocketing health care costs. While I commend the chairman of the Budget Committee for proposing a budget that reduces our long-term debt, he only achieves this by further shifting the burden to lower-income Americans and seniors. The CBC budget is a much more responsible path to prosperity than the Republican budget because our budget makes the tough choices. It doesn't cut Social Security. It doesn't turn Medicaid into a block grant or reduce Medicare into a voucher program that doesn't keep pace with medical inflation. The CBC budget proposes significant revenue increases through closing certain corporate loopholes and preferences, deterring aggressive speculation in the stock market, and ensuring the wealthiest Americans who benefited the most from tax cuts and bailouts contribute more. With these additional revenues and assuming some of the cuts proposed in the President's budget, in FY12, the CBC invests $7 billion more than the President in advanced energy and science, $20 billion more in education and job training, $20 billion more in transportation and infrastructure, $5 billion more in health care services for veterans, and invests more in NASA, National Science Foundation, and secondary and higher education programs, adult employment and training programs, high-speed rail, public transit. Then the CBC budget would positively impact every sector of our economy, including the so-called 99ers who have exhausted their benefits. They could get 14 more weeks under this budget. And it also ensures that the United States will actually invest in the future and at the same time reduce the deficit. We essentially make a choice. You can cut safety net programs, investments in the future, and just perfunctory services like food inspection, FBI agents, things like that. Those cuts equal the tax cuts for that portion of income over $250,000. We elect not to pursue those tax cuts and run government like we've been doing in the past. I ask that our amendment be placed in order so that we can place this on the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scott. As I said, I'm going to encourage this committee to make your substitute in order, as I am the other substitutes that have been submitted. I hope